Located on Baggot Street in Dublin city centre, lies Hook & MacDonald, one of the largest estate agents in Ireland. Founded in 1967, Hook & MacDonald quickly became a market leader for new homes in Ireland under the leadership of Ken MacDonald. Ken continued to expand on his success during the following 50 years, eventually involving his family within the business. We sat down to talk to Ken's son, Donald, to gain insight into the family business.
With my father, Ken MacDonald, who set up the business in 1967 with a partner at the time, Ronnie Hook. And then he's continued the business on, and he still works in the business. But my sister Rena joined Ken and in the business in, I think it was probably the mid 90s. She joined, and then she worked in various different parts of the business. The core value within our organisation is we try and always say what we think, and so we're seen as having a lot of integrity and a level of professionalism that people know when they come to us that they will get a very, I suppose, direct steer of, you know, whether what they're trying to do on the property front is a good idea or not. And then we try and back it up with, you know, our experience in the market in terms of that could be, you know, other transactions that are going on, things that are happening in the economy, things that are happening, say, for a particular property within the area of that property. So there's various different things, and one of the things that we've always Ken has concentrated on is research. Quite collaborative in that if an email, and this is quite this might sound a bit granular, but it's the reality of it. If communication is everything, and we all know if you receive an email and the tone of the email just seems off or aggressive, that you kind of say, oh right, yeah, I didn't think that was the way they were going in that. But so what we do a lot of, and it's time consuming, is we will read each other's emails. So if we're sending a lot of the emails you send aren't necessarily that important, but they're key to continuing your business. There's always kind of the new big thing or the new best thing, and I think it's a real challenge to align being like you would have discussions internally with other kind of senior management, and you would say that unless you're changing, you're being left behind. So you always need to be changing what you're doing, looking and making sure that what you did last year is not necessarily what you're doing today. Now that sounds maybe a bit like a cliche, but it's the truth. You need to always be evolving. I don't know, when you gave that question, I read it yesterday and today, I was like, I don't know where they'd be misaligned, because everything, if something goes well at Hook & MacDonald, it's kind of good for all of us, yeah, in terms of our family, and equally if something goes well, not just for me, Rena, Ken, or me, Rena or Ken, but for the other directors, something going well in the company should flow through. It can be challenging, like it all sounds as if it's all grand. It can be challenging to work in the family business, because it can be difficult to go, like, you know, when do you stop talking about business, when do you stop talking about work. So that's a kind of a strange dynamic that, you know, sometimes you can be pretty uncomfortable with. And I know, say, Ken really likes to talk about work and can probably talk about work all the time, whereas I'm like, if it's the weekend, unless I've got something specific on my mind, I try not to think about work.